up, guys? Welcome to local band Smokeout. Any genre from anywhere in the entire world. I want to hear your music.
Alright, what's up, A10? It's your boy BG, back with another reaction here for SB19. This particular one, though, is something that Casual Chuck just uploaded right here. Another little documentary. It's kind of a long one, but I love his work. I love what the insight and the intelligence he brings as far as his research for SB19. He always at least shows me some things I've never heard about them, wasn't aware. So please make sure you support Casual Chuck just like I have. And yeah, obviously support SB19. If you end up enjoying this reaction video, kindly consider clicking the subscribe button for my channel. We have, I think, like 310 reactions for SB19, so you're in the right place. But it feels like it's been a while since I've done one.
When you hear the words
pop
music and the best boy band, who comes to mind? What if I told you that the most overlooked boy group in our generation might be these guys? In the last 6 years, these guys turned a small Korean entertainment company into a company that produced the greatest P-pop group ever.
Are you proud of SB19?
Yeah.
And you don't accomplish that without making a few enemies.
K-pop.
Lima pala sila.
K-pop pangit.
Some of them coming from unexpected places.
Pinoy ba to?
Parang may ginaya rin eh.
But behind the group are 5 driven men who were about to transform what was once a laughingstock genre in music into the fastest growing genre of the world.
Ever since we had this goal, and not just for us, but for the entire industry.
Feeling ko hindi pa natin nakukuha yung recognition na dapat para sa atin.
Between disbanding before they even debuted,
All hope is lost parang nung time na yun.
becoming industry outcasts and getting bashed by their own countrymen,
I remember seeing some of that stuff in the other
kataasan ng tangos ng ilong. Para talagang
any other Chuck documentaries.
Oo.
the rise of SB19 may not be the greatest Filipino success story ever.
Maganda kasi yung revenge kasi talaga yung success na ipapakita mo sa mga hindi naniniwala.
Tama yan.
But it certainly is the most inspiring one.
The graphics are dope that he puts together. I know he's got a little team and everything, but does a good job.
This is called Triple, a group of talented performers and comedians from Korea you've probably never heard of. They were formed back in 1994 when the word K-pop hasn't even been invented. In 2002, one of the members made the biggest mistake of his life, which will change the entire course of P-pop history.
Biggest mistake, or?
That member was Jong Song Han. It all started when he left the trio in 2002 to become an entrepreneur. Cult Triple became Cult 2. Most of their fans thought that Songhan's decision was a huge mistake because the remaining members started racking up different awards in the entertainment industry. If he only stuck around, he would have gotten those awards too. But this man's decision was final. He used all of his savings to build an event organizing company called ShowBT Entertainment. Today we know him as Tatang Robin. Fast forward to 2015. The fight of the century just happened. One Direction's Drag Me Down was all over the radio, and Big Bang was the biggest K-pop boy group.
Big Bang.
P-pop has top one project. Chances are, you have never heard of them. But somewhere in Makati, Philippines, an audition was held. Tatang Robin was looking for young talents who would be part of the package of their service as an event organizers. Talents who can perform on their own but can also serve as backup dancers and singers to their main performers. One of the main attractions of the SAT audition was if you're good enough, you might just debut as a member of ShowBT's first ever P-pop group to undergo a Korean-style training. Filipinos don't get opportunities like that so often, so hundreds of talents applied, but only 30 made it as trainees. They were initially called the ShowBT Musical Gala Team, but then later dubbed as Nara, which in Korean means country, and also happens to be the national tree of the Philippines. If you're a fan who is deep into the P-pop scene, you would recognize some of the future P-pop stars, but one of the most notable ones is this guy. On the first day of training, one guy stood out because he was just alone standing awkwardly in the corner.
Nung una, ang weird niya po, nagsasalita mag-isa.
He was facing the wall and making hand gestures as if he was rapping in front of it.
Nakatayo siya sa gilid. Biglang gagano. Sabi ko, anong ginagawa na? Nagre-ritual ba ito sa gilid?
That guy was John Pablo Nasser. He always wanted to be a performer. As a young dreamer, he joined several competitions as a soloist and also as a member of the K-pop dance cover group called PHP. In training, he was the guy who shows up early and leaves late despite juggling a full-time job as a data analyst to help provide for his family.
I have heard all that.
He was selected due to his undeniable diligence and leadership qualities. He is known to have critically acclaimed songwriting ability. Some of my sources even said that he had already written dozens of songs at this time. He's also a badass rapper and was often called a genius, but consistently denied it because he claimed to be just a hard worker. This made him the destined leader of the group. He was known as Sejin at the time, but later would be known as Pablo. 30 trainees are a lot of trainees. It would take a very observant person with an eye for talent to notice Pablo in that corner. So who was that observant person with an eye for talent? Well, he was also a trainee. Stell Ahero.
Sylvester.
He was only a kid when he started competing as a performer. As a dancer, he racked up win after win on a national level with his school crew and became their official choreographer, teaching crewmates 2 to 3 years older than him. He later joined a dance crew called Seon and went on to win international titles. Stell obviously worked so hard. Amidst his studies and competitions, he also worked part-time as a McDonald's service crew and teaching dance to kids with special needs. There was a point that he worked too hard that he wound up in the hospital. His poor health caused him to lose his earnings and nearly his life. Fortunately, he was able to recover. This made him the obvious choice to become the choreographer of the group. But little did they know,
I've heard most of these because I've watched all of Chuck's other SB19 videos, like the story, the making ofs, and all that stuff. So I think I've heard everything up to this point.
Talent. As a kid, he joined the school choir to become the only male soprano.
There's probably something in there.
Only improved as he gotten older.
That we don't know.
He easily became the main heavenly voice of the group because his vocals were just out of this world. Unlike Pablo, Stell was very friendly to everyone. In fact, one of his closest friends also auditioned and made it as a trainee. This friend is nothing to be trifled with because having the worst upbringing among the others made him the strongest when it comes down to pure guts and determination. Josh Cullen Santos. He left home at the age of 16 and it was his decision. From growing up in a toxic environment to being physically abused as a kid by their nanny. I'm talking about getting poured candle wax all over their body. At an early age, he experienced what it felt like to be a member of a middle-class family that went rock bottom in just a matter of months. They got evicted from medium-sized apartments to increasingly smaller rooms. It came to a point when his family had nothing to eat with rice but ketchup and salt. They had no permanent address. Because of that, Josh and his sister dropped out of school multiple times, so they got bullied at school for being repeaters. Sometimes he would even get into fistfights for defending her. Josh had enough of this, so he decided to leave to become independent and started working as an internet cafe attendant. Using his own income, he took the alternative learning system to attain his high school degree. He initially had no background in performing. Not until he found Stell performing with his dance group called Seon. Josh became an instant fan, and when they connected, Stell became his mentor, which led to them becoming co-members, and they went on to win numerous K-pop dance cover competitions all over Asia. They even met BTS during one of their winning runs in Korea. So from champions to trainees, what else is in store for them?
Nada.
From then on, their lives became all about performing in small events and training.
We had one mentor when we were training. Tapos, more on personality development siya. Tapos, presenting ourselves on stage.
We had no idea that the Korean-style training they went through
It's far, far from what they've been doing sa Korea.
was nothing but a mere marketing strategy.
But yung skill-wise, parang ganun. We were left on our own.
They were left alone to fend for themselves, sharing knowledge to improve each other with the hope of making the cut.
Oh, that's interesting. I don't think I knew that.
Some sources told me that Pablo had to record some of their vocal sessions to effectively coach his co-trainees. All of that without salary. This went on for roughly a couple of years, and I don't know about you guys, but this for me sounded kind of brutal. It's not easy to keep
Definitely.
doing the same thing over and over and over again without any form of guidance. They were also kept in the dark about their debut date. So frustration started brewing until it reached the point when it only took one trigger to call it quits. On one seemingly normal training day, all trainees were already in the studio, except for Josh. On the same morning, the train broke down.
Nasira yung MRT during that time. Nasira yung MRT.
Sinuspindi ang operasyon ng MRT dahil sa power outage.
It wasn't really an accident, but this would still worry anyone, especially the trainees, because it's highly unusual for Josh to miss training. Later that morning, Josh arrived. His co-trainees felt relief because Josh turned out to be safe. You would think that their company would react the same way, right? Wrong. They decided to terminate his training.
Na-late ako, tapos tinanggal ako.
Dang.
That was the trigger.
Nung tinanggal po ako, nag-quit din yung mga grupo ko. Nag-quit din sila kasi parang naging trigger na point na kung tatanggalin mo si Josh,
Umalis kami sa grupo.
ganun mo lang kadali itapon yung lahat ng efforts and passion tsaka dreams namin.
ShowBT had two choices: to keep all trainees or to keep no trainees. The company chose the latter. Everyone left except for Stell.
Parang si Stell lang yung naiwan po nun talaga sa training room. Tapos talagang down na down
I was
lahat.
after like
Si Stell
2
natira
years?
kasi doon during that time.
Stell set aside all his frustration and remained focused on his goal, while Pablo was devastated.
All hope is lost parang nung time na yun.
In Josh's case, we can only imagine the pain he must have felt to have been booted out of his dreams. Days passed, everyone still feeling down about that incident. Then Pablo's phone receives a message.
Brother, bumalik ka na, brother.
It was Josh. Out of all the trainees, the guy that got sent packing was the same guy who actively convinced everyone to continue chasing their dreams. Perhaps this was the sheer guts and determination from his life experiences in full display. Pablo hurried back to the studio to find Stell alone. But not for long. Josh came back next and took the initiative to convince the company to have them back.
Pumunta lang po ako doon at syempre kung kailangan na makiusap.
So back to training, they went.
Hindi na naman magkahiwala ng grupo, pero bumalik sila kasi hindi nila ako inuman.
I didn't know
was
Stell
only
was the
three
only
of
one
them
there
for
still,
a
just
while.
still working.
Then a few other trainees started coming back. So ShowBT put together a talent workshop to get more talents to keep the business going. This was batch 1. This was batch 2.
Target
blocked. Justin de Dios.
Target.
He got scouted right away because he was a very good-looking guy and already was a decent singer and dancer. When he joined, he immediately saw a familiar face in Josh.
You look familiar, as do you.
Apparently, Josh told Justin about the workshop because the two already had a stint performing together in a dance cover group called Zero to Hero. So Justin as well wasn't new in the world of performing. He auditioned to be a part of the televised Pinoy boy band Superstar, but he didn't even make it to the live auditions. Perhaps it was fate. That group is nowhere to be found today. Justin obviously deserved better. He went on to finish his college degree in multimedia arts while training, which earned him a filmmaking skill that would prove very crucial to their success.
Yes,
in the
it
future.
would.
With Justin on board, this completed their prototype boy group. It's composed of Justin, Pablo, Stell, Josh, Zeno, Kurt, and JP. They did multiple test runs leading up to their entry to Pinoy K-Pop Star 2017. They performed B-Day by Icon in an epic fashion, but they didn't win. At this point, ShowBT seemed to have hit a roadblock. The group felt like something was missing. I don't exactly know what happened to Zeno, Kurt, and JP. They either quit or ShowBT felt the need to let go of them and get someone who could take this already great group of guys and push them to achieve
I wonder if
the
anybody
next
else knows
level,
what happened to them.
the extraordinary level. This years in the making project of ShowBT needed to reach its peak. So they started the online auditions. When Josh heard about it, he was like, I know a guy.
Here he comes.
The guy he was talking about was a pain in his butt because their groups have clashed multiple times in their early dance competitions and their battles were always neck and neck. That guy's name was Philip John Suson. He was such a specimen. He was so naturally gifted that excelling in sports looked like a walk in the park for him. He grew up in the church under the care of his grandparents. He was an artistic kid, so he was active as an editorial cartoonist in school. Nobody taught him how to play musical instruments. He taught himself by just listening to the music, so he ended up becoming a southpaw guitarist, but he later then fixed it as he learned more. He was also a gifted singer as a kid. Every time there was a family gathering, he was always forced to sing karaoke by his relatives. But when he hit puberty, he lost confidence in his voice because he could no longer hit high notes. But his confidence came back after being mentored by Pablo, who taught him how to harness his unique low voice that seemingly sounds like it came from the underworld. When it comes to dance,
He
didn't
does have
know
such
he
a
could
deep
do
voice.
it
We always
because he was
mention that.
forced to in order to get good grades during their school intramurals. After discovering dance, he transformed from a guy who didn't know it to someone who can fly. Because of his raw talent, he ended up teaching dance to the entire school and continued on to join the dance group called Amigo 7, a would-be rival of Josh and Stell's crew, Say On. It quickly became a reverse if you can't beat them, then join them kind of deal. So Josh recruited Ken. But there was a problem. He was hundreds of islands away and didn't have the money.
He used his
What
own
did
money.
Josh do? He shelled out for his plane ticket. With nothing else to lose, Philip went and left his previous life in the countryside. He then trained with the boys and officially debuted with them as Ken, the main dancer, the bass vocalist, and the lead rapper of the group. One thing to note is that they were an unlikely bunch because they wouldn't have met each other if Tatang Robin stayed with his already successful group in
This is
Korea.
true.
Justin didn't make it in his first audition, so he almost didn't try again until Josh told him to do so. And Ken wouldn't even have the opportunity to join if the ShowBT trainees didn't come back after that quitting incident. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the butterfly effect. When a small and seemingly insignificant occurrence has a rippling effect through time, leading to a consequential event sometime long after the initial event. Or as Google would put it, the phenomenon whereby a minute localized change in a complex system can have large effects elsewhere. Tatang Robin's so-called mistake back in 2002 led to forming the future P-Pop Kings. In 2018, SB19 was
my
formed.
birthday.
The name of the group was
10/26.
carefully picked. The number 19 is the sum of Korea and the Philippines country code digits, 82 and 63. So 8 plus 2 plus 6 plus 3 is 19. If you subtract both numbers, you also get the same result. SB doesn't only mean ShowBT. It is also about their ultimate goal for Pinoy sound to break into the music industry, which is fearlessly represented by this phrase: Soundbreak.
These are so good, man. The editing is really. Yeah, the video, you can tell he worked really hard on it. Shout out to Chuck putting these together. I've seen pretty much like a ton of Chuck's videos in the past, so there wasn't like a lot of new information here, but I didn't know that Stell was the one that stayed back. I don't remember that. It's just, but I love like the editing and everything that goes into these videos. Like they come out so well. Obviously 10 out of 10. And I hadn't checked out anything from SB19 in a while. We're patiently waiting the next EP and or album, part of the trilogy, coming out soon. But make sure you sub to his channel because, like I said, he puts tons and tons of hours in editing into those, making those videos amazing. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this reaction video, and consider clicking the subscribe button for my channel. Please obviously support SB19. We do have a Patreon, patreon.com/localbandbg. As well as if you ever need merch for your shows here in the States, go to mymerchguy.com. Use code LBS420 for a nice discount. Other than that, A10, I hope you guys have an excellent holiday. Cheers. Keep blazing in peace. I'll see you next time.